Super nervous. Sweaty palms. Someone said it's like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. That's exactly how I feel. Hi there, RC Girl here. Today I have a first for my channel. This is my first RC warbird, the VOT F4U Corsair from Hobbyking. I'm excited to try it out, a little bit nervous. This is Hobbyking's 750mm wingspan Corsair that features their ORX stabilization. So it has beginner and expert flight modes. We're gonna try this out for the first time. So in this video, we're gonna unbox it, assemble it, and give it its maiden flight. Stay tuned. It's doing well. Wow, you can actually like go super slow. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Here you're gonna find RC reviews, tips and tricks, run videos, flight videos, and other things related to RC. So if you guys wanna see more, make sure you like and subscribe. Also, head over to my Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon. I do a lot of behind the scenes stuff there, so you don't wanna miss it. A lot of people get into RC flight because they wanna fly the warbirds. And I really understand the pull now. They're very scale looking. Corsairs are iconic American fighter aircraft introduced during World War II. Their wings were intended to fold up so that they can be easily loaded onto aircraft carriers. They were also highly maneuverable and fast aircraft during combat. So these are fighting machines with a pretty intense history in World War II. There was a documentary I recently watched. I was very interested in the history behind these. I'll put a link to that up here if you want to check it out. So before we open the box, I would say that low-wing aircraft or warbirds like this are usually intended for intermediate to more advanced pilots. They have some stall characteristics that are not ideal for beginners. They need a lot of throttle control when you're taking off and landing. I would consider myself a beginner-mediate pilot, but with the 6-axis ORX stabilization in this with their beginner mode, I'm very interested to see Hobbyking stabilization. Sort of a new technology for Hobbyking. They've had their ORX stabilizer in a couple different warbird models that they've released early last year. The ORX stabilizer will limit your pitch and your roll angles, so it won't let you go inverted. And it does also have a gyro stabilizer that'll correct some fine movements in the air. This is a plug and fly model or plug and play model, which requires you to provide your own receiver transmitter and also your own batteries. And there is a little bit of assembly required for this. All you're gonna need though is a screwdriver and some foam safe glue. I'll put a link to what I'm using in the description box below. We're gonna be programming this in my Spectrum NX6 transmitter, and I also have a couple 800 milliamp 3S LiPo batteries with JST connectors. That's gonna give you about a 5-minute flight time with this aircraft. Okay. All right, here is everything that is included in the box. We have our really cool looking wing. We have our ailerons here. No flaps. Here's our bottom. Next, we have the fuselage. This is the tail dragger. Comes with a 3-blade prop. Little Jolly Roger there. Nice scale details. We got our dude in here. Or lady. Our wing is going to attach on the bottom here. There's the stabilizer you can see. So quick disclaimer about this model, the ORX stabilizer that came pre-installed when you get it in the box is actually faulty from the factory. So they do provide an updated stabilizer that you're gonna need to quickly swap into this model. Super easy, so I will show you guys how to do that. And our battery compartment is here. It's held on by little magnets. It's a JST connector for our battery. And then it comes with some scale missiles and 2 drop tanks. Adding these on are going to add some scale details, but I think I'm going to keep them off when I'm first flying it. It does add a lot of drag to the bottom of your wing. Those are going to attach here. And since I'm new to flying a warbird, I think I'm going to keep them off for my first couple flights, and we might add those on later. Next, we have our landing gear. These are going to be fixed landing gear, so they'll be out at all times. They're not retractable like some other models. And some hardware. So for assembly, first you're going to put on the wheels on the wing using 2 screws, 1 on each side. They are a little bit loose, so you can glue those in place if you want to add some extra rigidity. Next, I put on the horizontal stabilizer. This needs to be glued on. I used foam tack, which is a foam safe glue. Crazy glue actually also worked. It did not eat into the foam, so you can use that as well. With foam tack, you're going to need to apply glue to both of the surfaces. You're going to squeeze those together. Then you're going to pull the parts apart and then put them back together and hold them in place to dry. Next, I put on the tail. So this is also connected to your tail wheel here. So you want to make sure that that is properly aligned before you insert it. Same thing here, apply glue to both surfaces, put them together, take them apart, and then put them together and hold them in place. Next, I attach the clevis on the elevator. They say to attach it to the middle hole. Then to get this to sit flush, I had to screw in the clevis a little bit, maybe 5 millimeters or so, and that did the job. Then slide the little rubber collar around the clevis to hold it in place. It's also a good practice to go over the model once and make sure that everything is installed properly. Next, I had to install the updated ORX stabilizer. Basically what the stabilizer is doing is routing all your controls through the stabilizer before it goes into your receiver. So each control surface is controlled separately. And then you also have your flight modes. That's going to be the beginner and expert flight modes. So let's take it away. We're going to take these cables here one at a time, making sure that we're keeping the same orientation. That is how it knows to correct the fine movements. It needs to be flat as well. It might help to use some pliers so you're not yanking on these cables and ruining any connections. Use the wiggle method. Let's remove this one. I'm going to use some little snips. It's also held on by some glue, so we're going to have to pry it off a little bit, but hopefully it's not too hard to get off. Feed all our cables through. We have a little double-sided foam tape here, so you can either re-glue it or just use that, and I would also make sure to secure that with a zip tie. Ta-da! So that is it for the assembly. All we have to do now is plug these into the right channel in my Spectrum receiver and my NX6. So I'm using the AR6610T receiver from Spectrum. You're going to need 5 channels or more for this. There's no flaps, but your flight mode does take up a channel. I have my throttle in channel 1, ailerons in channel 2, elevator channel 3, rudder channel 4, and our flight mode in channel 5. Transmitter is turned on. Plug in our battery. So it's going to do the little tail wag and the aileron wag when you have it plugged in properly. You'll notice that when you first power it up, you're going to need to give it a little bit of throttle to initialize the stabilizer. So turn off our throttle kill, give it a little bit of throttle or a lot of throttle. And now we have our stabilizer. All our control surfaces appear to be working. I programmed the flight mode into this top one here, easily on and off. I think we're good to go. Now we're ready to go fly this thing. All right, we actually got it flying. So I was a little nervous to take it off on my own for the first time. It's doing well. Wow, you can actually like go super slow. All right, so here we have the plane. I know it's kind of damaged, but I think it's still flyable. I may or may not have bent the motor shaft, so trying to check that out. The prop definitely exploded. I have a couple other options I could try. Also have a little wing damage here, but I think it's repairable. So we're gonna give it another go. Take 3. My first warbird experience. All right, so here we are at the flying field. This is take 3. I fixed the plane, still flyable. So today we're gonna try and get this up before the storm hits. I really wanna get this in the air. So Let's check it out. So today I'm going to be using a 3S 1300 milliamp battery. So actually I had to end up using a bigger battery to add more weight to the front and get the CG right. The CG is about 5 millimeters in front of this wing panel here. To get that right, I had to add a bigger battery. And for that, I'm going to need an adapter. So I have an XT60 to a JST here. Got my transmitter on. We're going to power this up. So we're going to shove the battery all the way forward. Okay, let's get our hatch on. What I've learned in the past 2 flight experiences, we're going to not throttle up too fast because we have a lot of motor torque. It's going to torque the model to the left a little bit, so we want to slowly accelerate. Also going to do a hand launch, so you can actually hand launch this model. We're going to try that. And lastly, we're not going to fly too slow, because although I thought that it could fly slow, it did stall the plane, and then we had a little disaster. So we're going to keep our speed up. For this warbird, not going to be doing a ton of aerobatics with it. I'm going to keep a simple flight pattern, just do a couple circles around the field, and then we're going to try and land it, hopefully not crash it this time. One thing to mention is that to initialize the gyro for the first time, you're going to have to give it a little bit of throttle. That'll initialize the gyro. I also have dual rates programmed to a 3-position switch. On my last flight, when I had it in the medium rates, I actually didn't have enough control, so I'm going to keep it in the high rates. And then also we're going to keep it in beginner mode. So to test if you're in beginner mode, you can flip the model over and you can see the ailerons are trying to right the plane. All right, so let's take off. Super nervous. Sweaty palms. Someone said it's like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. That's exactly how I feel. All right. Okay, so I'm going to try and take off with like 65% throttle because I'm running on 3S. All right. Throttle kill off. I'm going to not have my strap on just in case I need to give it to the film guy. I'll let you know when to take off. Okay, take off. Nice. Oh, I'm flying. Oh boy. Nice. I can't believe I'm flying this thing. Oh man. Landing is gonna be the problem, huh? Seems like it kind of wants to pitch up, but I'm not gonna turn down my throttle too much. I'm around 50% throttle. Okay, I'm gonna try and like come around like I'm gonna do a landing, line it up for a landing. Use some elevator to bring it down. Ooh, I'm like shaking. It's hard to see the coloration with the clouds. Okay, around 50% throttle here. Try and bring it around again. Yeah, so that's full sticks. So yeah, and it kind of wants to stall when I do full sticks without a ton of throttle. Okay, bring it down. Don't go too slow, Haley. Nice. Don't have a low voltage alarm in this, so not gonna have a ton of flight time with this. I'm gonna bring it out a little bit further, give me some more room. Oh, we got someone on the runway too. Bring it around again. We're doing pretty good. I can't believe it. Oh boy, I was gonna. Okay, I'm gonna try and line up for landing. Okay, we're gonna bring it around again. That was pretty good. I think I can try and land on this time around. No. We're gonna land with some speed. I mean, seriously. It landed and it didn't crash. Oh. Can't wipe the smile off my face. Oh, it's like so exhilarating to like have a challenge and then, you know, be super nervous and then rebuild the plane and then get it up there and actually land it in one piece. Oh, my heart is racing. Yeah, that was fun. I mean, definitely you can feel like your controls are limited, and I can tell when I got it into steep of an angle, it's wanted to sort of dive. But honestly, like, I'm kind of impressed. So I know it doesn't look like it did from the beginning, but super grateful that Hobbyking sent out another model. So I have a brand new one. This is one I can learn on. And honestly, I think I needed to crash to like get over it in my flight journey. Cause now I have something, you know, it's like, you know how to rebuild it, you know, you can get back up there. I'm like shaking. Cool. All right, so what did I learn with my first two flights with the Hobbyking Corsair? I'm not gonna fault the model. I am myself learning to fly warbirds for the first time. They are inherently challenging and they're not very forgiving as a general characteristic. I'm not gonna give up though. I want to actually fix up the first one though and try again. It's a good opportunity for me to learn how to fix my models and get back up in the air and not be scared to try again. It's a little bit windy out here, so I'm gonna wait for the weather to pass through and we'll give it another go. That is RC Planes for you. Thanks so much to Hobbyking for letting me try out the Hobbyking Corsair. I'm really determined to get this thing back up in the air, so stay tuned for that. Looking forward to sharing more with you guys in the future. As always, make sure to like and subscribe. Or see you later. My little dude came loose. Poor lady. Oh man. Whoopsies. So, gotta fix that. Back to the bench with this one. I'll see you later.